It's muffed. A rough fantasy year. The data has a lot to say about it. Muffed! Breece Hall finished 2025 as the number 19 running back in total PPR scoring and the number 21 running back in PPR per game. A useful starter line that feels lower than it should given how good he was on tape. This was a workhorse season buried inside a 3-14 disaster. Hall carried an offense that had no business being competitive, set a career high in rushing yards, and became the first Jets back to crack 1,000 on the ground since 2015. The fantasy ranking tells one story, the tape tells another, and that gap is the whole episode. Now let's dig into the numbers. Hall averaged 13.0 PPR points per game on 243 carries for 1,065 yards and 4 rushing scores, adding 36 catches on 48 targets for 350 yards and a receiving touchdown. The efficiency under the hood is where it gets loud, plus 300.3 rushing yards over expected, plus 0.55 yards over expected per carry, and he did it while seeing a stacked box on nearly 27% of his runs. That's elite rushing efficiency against defenses that knew exactly what was coming. The catch, the passing game volume cratered, an 11% target share and only 48 targets is a steep drop for a back who led all running backs in receptions just 2 years ago, and it's the single biggest reason his fantasy ranking lagged his play. Consistency-wise, he was boom or bust in the worst way, only 3 games over 19 PPR points, but 8 games under 10. The floor was thin because the Jets were almost never in positive game script, and when they fell behind, Hall got muffed by a play caller pulling away from the run. The defining moment came in week 17 against the Patriots, first play of the fourth quarter, Jets down 3-42 in a wreck of a game. Hall took a handoff up the middle and ripped off a 59-yard touchdown worth just over 5 expected points added, the longest and most explosive play of his year. It captured his entire 2025 in one snap, a back running behind a broken team in a blowout nobody was watching, reminding you he's still one of the most talented runners in the league. He limped off later in that same game with the knee injury that ended his regular season early, a fitting button on a year where the player was excellent and the situation was anything but. Muffed! Hall finished as the number 19 running back in total PPR and the number 21 in per game scoring, a quietly excellent real football season that fantasy managers lived as a boom or bust grind. The clear weakness the data flags is passing game usage. An 11% target share and just 48 targets is a major drop from his earlier seasons, and reestablishing that receiving role is what separates a back-end starter from a top 10 finish. That's Breece Hall's 2025. One quick note, if you want the same treatment for every player on your fantasy roster every week, head to muff.ai and we'll build you a custom weekly show. That's the wrap.